like temperatures, guys, and I know that's what we like to hear. We don't want winter just yet, so just stick out there for a little bit.
That's very true, very true. The men's and women's basketball teams are set to open their regular seasons.
And signing day continues for Saluki Athletics. Sean Conway is here with sports.
The Saluki football squad closes out their last home game of the season, and the volleyball team has two big conference matches. I'll tell you who they play when we return on River Region Sports. The SAU men's golf team signed two recruits today for the 2016-2017 season. The first is Sam Meek from Peterborough, Canada. Meek is the 4th-ranked player in Ontario. Carson Seals comes from the Sooner State. Seals is the 9th-ranked player in Oklahoma. He chose SIU over powerhouses Baylor, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State. This comes after SIU signed 15 recruits yesterday across 3 sports. This just in, Saluki baseball infielder Will Farmer told River Region Sports that the SIU baseball team has 6 signees already. Farmer says Tyler Helms, Reese Dolan, Mitch Fairfield, Chuck Fleming, Justin Yager, and Bradley Harrison are all incoming Salukis. Saluki Athletics early confirmed 4 signings to Evening Edition. An official announcement is expected within the next week. The SIU men's basketball team opens the regular season hosting Air Force in the MVC Mountain West Challenge. SIU got the ball rolling earlier this week with a preseason blowout over Maryville and hopes to keep that momentum heading into tomorrow's matchup. Coach Barry Hinson says he will not redshirt any players this season. SIU has 9 new players added to the roster.
You know, I've asked these guys to do 3 things for me: to give me great attitudes every day, to concentrate, and to give me their best effort. And, you know, if we'll do that, I think we have a chance to have a good season. But those are challenging things, not only for players, but the challenges for human beings on a daily basis.
The Salukis play 2 games this weekend. Tune into ESPN3 for both games. Tip-off against Air Force is set for 7 p.m. tomorrow night, and tip-off against Florida A&M is Sunday at 3. The women's basketball team also plays tomorrow. The Salukis take on the DePaul Blue Demons in the first round of the preseason WNIT tomorrow night in Chicago. SIU starts the regular season ranked 4th in the MVC. Meanwhile, the defending Big East champs Blue Demons returns to the court after posting a 27-8 record last season. Tip-off for tomorrow's game is at 7. Catch the game's broadcast on the Saluki Sports Network. SIU cross country travels to Lawrence, Kansas for the Midwest Regional. The Salukis will compete against the other teams from across the Midwest to qualify for the NCAA championships. Senior runner Krista Mangini will represent the women's in the 6K race, and the men look to Oscar Medina, Brandon Shimona, and Josh Meyer in the 10K race. The top 2 finishing teams from each race will move on to the NCAA championships. The Midwest Regional kicks off tomorrow at noon with the women's race at 6K race, followed by the men's 10K at 1. Saluki volleyball closes out the last home game of the season. SIU volleyball team hosts conference rival Illinois State Redbirds tomorrow night. The Redbirds and Salukis are 2 of 3 teams in the Missouri Valley to surpass the 20-win mark this season. The Dogs will try to stop ISU's 3-match winning streak while attempting to extend their own streak to 7. First serve is at 7 p.m. Moving on to Saturday, the Salukis close out the last home game of the year against the Indiana State Sycamores. Indiana State will fight for the last spot in the MVC tournament. First serve for that match is at 7. Catch the game on ESPN3. The SIU football team will host their final home game of the season when they play against conference rival Illinois State. Illinois State ranks 6th in the FCS and sits in 1st place in the MVFC. The Salukis will attempt to upset the Redbirds in their final home game of the season, as quarterback Mark Ionati will go into Saturday's game with an average of 351 passing yards per game. SIU will honor the seniors who are playing their last home game as a Saluki. Kickoff is set for 2 p.m. this Saturday at Saluki Stadium on ESPN3. Going into the NFL, the St. Louis Rams play host to the Chicago Bears this Sunday. The Rams are coming off a close overtime loss to the Minnesota Vikings. Meanwhile, the Bears got their 3rd victory of the season with a Monday night win over the San Diego Chargers. Rams running back Todd Gurley sat out of practice so far this week, with no word on yet whether he'll play or not this Sunday. Meanwhile, Bears running back Matt Forte shocked everyone when he returned to practice earlier this week. However, he was very limited in his participation. Kickoff is set for noon this Sunday on CBS. The St. Louis Blues travel to the Big Apple to face the New York Rangers in the Madison Square Garden. St. Louis sits in 2nd in the Central Division with a record of 11-3-1, while the Rangers sit atop the Metropolitan Division with a record of 11-2-2. Puck drop for tonight's game is at 6 on Fox Sports Midwest. Meanwhile, the Chicago Blackhawks return to action tonight as they take on the New Jersey Devils at the United Center. Both the Hawks and the Devils boast a record of 8-6-1 on the season. Puck drop for tonight's game is at 7:30 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Up next, we'll tell you what stories are making news in the days ahead.
Plus, we'll tell you how these furry guys got themselves into some trouble with the police. We'll be right back.